Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us again. This is Sunil Chandy, and we're on Food for Thought, a ministry out of Christ Episcopal Church. And thank you for connecting with us and being with us today. Of course, today is a very casual day for me today because it's Casual Tuesday. We just started it today, and the reason why I'm not, that's one of the reasons why I'm not wearing a collar today. And of course, I have a Bible study and a thing to do today that allows me to be a bit casual today. So, but nonetheless, want to thank you for being with us. And if you are here, please do connect with us. Tell us that you're here. Tell us that you enjoy this program as we continue to think about how we continue to connect with you. And Betsy Rice, namaste. Yes, of course. Betsy was our former senior warden here. And today we'll be talking with another warden, a warden that she has served with here at Christ Church. And Betsy is now in Philadelphia, or outside of Philadelphia. And I'm so glad that we have this ministry. Thank you. Looking at you too. Well, I can't see you, Betsy, but I know you're looking good. I know you are. And I want you to know we miss you here. And I'm so glad that we're able to connect with you and be a part of your life. And I hope that, Betsy, you should probably come on the show again just to tell us what your new life it looks like over there. And that would be amazing to hear. And of course, there are many other people who might be connecting, and I hope that you will too say hello and tell us that you're here. And because this ministry has become an important part of the work of our church. And today we have a guest who will help us to do that. Dale, thank you for watching. You too. I am so glad that you're watching and that you've connected with us every day. And we should have a category for people who connect with us every day. That should be heroes of faith or something like that, you know? We'll let Ben think about that. He's the creative force behind this program. And another creative force behind this program is, of course, our senior warden, who was junior warden at one time, Caswell Cooke. And Caswell is our guest today. And he is, we've got him on his iPhone, and he's speaking from his office and via Zoom or through this StreamYard program. And so, Dave, please bring Caswell on board. Hey, Caswell.
How are you?
Good. I love your haircut, by the way. I have to keep saying that. It's a summer cut.
Tina from New Image.
Tina from New Image. Well, you know, I get mine from Chantel from, Platinum.
I'm just now, as we speak, because I know we're going to talk about the movie at the drive-in we're going to do for Christ Church, and I wanted to make sure that it was on our page. So as we speak, I'm loading the event onto our page so people can buy tickets.
Great.
So we're doing this great fundraiser that Lisa Kitchen thought of. And
Lisa Kitchen, who is our honor vestry and who's also the chair of our fundraising committee. She's been active like crazy. She's doing a couple of different things. One is that the drive-in movie thing that we're doing. When is that anyway, Caswell?
It's going to be coming up on Tuesday, August 10th. And the movie is called All Saints. It's a movie about an Episcopal church in Smyrna. Where is Smyrna? It's like Ohio or something. Okay. And it was a dying church, and then these Hmong these people from Burma that are the Hmongs, they were living in the town, and somehow they partnered on growing a garden and producing food on the property. And then next thing you know, their parishioners and the church, they sent this priest to close the church. And instead he turned it around, and now it's even 10 years later, it's still going. So they made a movie with a great actor named John Corbin, who's been in a bunch of movies. And the movie's called All Saints. So it's $25 per carload, which is a pretty cheap night out. And it's going to be at the drive-in movie theater in Squamicut, and proceeds go to the church.
Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you, Caswell. You know, I was wondering if we know the name of that priest, maybe we could invite him to be on Food for Thought, and maybe that might be interesting.
I tried to find him. He got transferred to St. Thomas Fifth Avenue, and
Okay.
and then he kind of disappeared. So I don't know where he is right now, but maybe.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's good. You know,
Maybe we can get John Corbin, the actor who
well,
portrays him in the movie.
well, you know what, John Corbin, I always thought of him as like he has that look of being a priest. You know, he has that pastoral look. You know, he's a handsome guy, which is kind of unusual for a priest. But I mean, but he's like he's got that look about him. You know, that compassionate look. You know.
He does, and he does a really great job in this movie. So Lisa suggested we do it, and I kind of suggested the movie since it's, you know, it was pretty popular when it got released as far as independent films go, and it's about an Episcopal church, and it's current, and it's kind of about what's going on in the world and in the church. So, but it's a great night out at the beach, and we've got popcorn and hot dogs and candy and all the things that are bad for you. So
Yeah.
you can enjoy that and say what the heck, you know, and then park your car and watch the movie. So it'll be a fun way for us to do something.
Yeah, you know, that reminds me, I announced that we were this past Sunday that we were changing our services from 10 o'clock right now to the summer hours of 8 and 9. And all of a sudden, I mean, I noticed like there was like there was only one person who clapped because it seemed like, and some people at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then, of course, the thing is, you know, with being in a summer community, right, where we have a lot of activities offered in our community, the best thing to do is to come to church in the morning, get connected to God, and then to go out and enjoy and live, you know, and in the process, you're able to kind of connect with these businesses who are coming back to life again, you know, and it's
I think in the summer it's good to have an earlier service because people have a lot of things they want to do during the very short summer season that we have. So we've always had summer service times at Christ Church. So it's nothing new, but you know, it's never easy to change services, but it's just for July and August, and then September we'll go back to normal. So, you know, hopefully it helps, and having an 8 o'clock service in the summer is good for those who want to get it out of the way, right?
yeah, yeah. And yeah, no, and there are some people who just love, and so that 8 o'clock service is going to be a morning prayer service. We've been doing morning prayer, and it's been very successful online. And so that 8 o'clock is going to be an in-person morning service, and it'll only last about 20 minutes, but there'll be the readings of the day. There won't be a sermon, but it'd be a good way to kind of connect with the readings and the Word of God.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. So that's, you know, summer services, and then in September we'll hopefully relaunch everything like a normal year. It'll be really cool. We won't have Sunday school with masks, and we'll be able to have coffee hours and all that kind of cool stuff that, you know, people, and we have a choir now that people are vaccinated and stuff. So it felt very normal the last couple weeks at church.
Yeah, it felt good. I felt good. I mean, just having, my mother was watching from New Jersey. She usually watches from India, right? But 2 Sundays ago, when we first had the choir there, she was watching and she was just saying, "Oh my God, it just was beautiful to hear the music, to hear all of the liturgy together, and a church that's so filled with joy."
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah. I did want to say that Lisa is also involved with another program that we're doing. It's a race that we're doing in October. It's a fun run. It's called, I think we've decided on their name, and it's probably going to be Spray Rock Run, Fun Run or something. And she, along with Neil Travala, is helping organize this. And this is, again, a race that's a 5K that's going to be around the beach community, around the town beach, and then I'm not sure the exact route, but it's going to be right there. And people will support the local community businesses that are there, and they also enjoy the beach and its weather.
Yeah, I think the race goes down Atlantic Ave and into Weekapaug, loops around and comes back. I think, because that's what a lot of the races that they do that are 5K follow that route. And because there's one in April called the Clam Digger that the Westerly Track Club does. So I think they're going to follow that same kind of path. And you can walk or run. You don't have to run. You can do it as a fun walk. But I think they'll start off the runners first, and then the walkers will be like the second group.
And then the slow walkers in the third group.
You'll be bringing up the rear.
Yeah, with a blessing. What can I say?
I remember running a 10-mile road race when I was younger in Narragansett. And Nancy Burns Fazaro, right, who does the Westerly Sun stuff. So her husband, Sam, he's been at the Ocean House for since 1968. And he used to be the lifeguard. So he always ran every day. So somehow he got me into running. And we did some running on the beach when I was in my 20s. And then he suggested I run a 10-mile road race at Narragansett. So I went to run, and I just didn't know what 10 miles really involved. And I remember coming around to the finish line, and I was so far behind that there was this 80-year-old guy that was wheezing and had one fake leg. I don't know what you call it, a prosthetic leg. And he overtook me. And I said, darn it, I am just not. And I was in my 20s, and I was beaten by someone that was 60 years older than me, that had, disabilities, and was somehow persevered, and he beat me. And I said, wow, I'm not. So I think a 5K is much better, because what's that, 3-point-something miles?
3.1 miles, yeah.
Right. So that's much more palatable to run or walk that. That's easy. For a lot of people, that's a lot easier. So I would suggest we all just do it.
It's funny, though, because I have my own story like that, too. The Rotary Club, I used to be a part of the Rotary Club in town, and it's very active. We've got one of the best Rotary Clubs in the country, I think. And we've got, some really great guys, and I remember, but most of the guys who are in the leadership are kind of older. They're in their 80s, and so I remember being a part of that, and I say, okay, I'll walk with you guys. We'll walk. These guys, who were president, they were in their 80s, and they were helping me walk the rest of the way. I was really bringing up the back of this thing, and it was a humbling experience. But the one thing I love about all of these type of experiences is that it builds community. It's not just you're running by yourself. You're running with a community, or you're walking with a community. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Dave, there's a little feedback here I'm getting. Caswell, can you hear it?
I hear everything fine.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so it's just on my phone. So, in general, it's always good to see you on this Food for Thought, Caswell. You're one of the ones who inspired this show, you know that. And, of course, you're the one who brought up the name.
Well, I think being online is important for the church, and that's what we started doing. And then COVID helped us. I mean, when you think about it, we were ready to go. And the first couple of weeks we were using my iPhone or something for the services. But once we brought in Ben and Shane, then it became a professional thing. And then now people watch from all over the place, and we have really good online attendance. I mean, not that should replace you coming in person, but for people like Betsy. And by the way, it was my fault, but we have to stop saying she lives in Philadelphia. She lives in Pennsylvania. She's nowhere near Philadelphia. I made that mistake the first week. I was like, and Betsy's in Philadelphia. And she's like, no, I'm not. That's like saying we're in Providence. We're like, no, we're not. We're in But anyway, so wherever you are, Betsy, and all the other folks that watch online, it's an important thing. So we have to keep doing it. And when you look at the online attendance, it's just as good, if not better, than the in-person attendance sometimes. So it's vital. And we always had to fight to get into the 21st century, but COVID just forced us. So here we are, and we can never go back.
So, today I had, it's not only Betsy who's watching, but today Doug Lawrence, who is on our vestry.
Yes.
Doug Lawrence, who's a former Marine and a former Marine captain. He was in Korea, the warfare effort at that time, and just a wonderful guy. And he was the property chair. And recently he couldn't make it to church because of physical ailment. And he's been watching faithfully. He came in today, and he told me, Sunil, I haven't been here in church, but I participate every day. I would call watch every Sunday, and I just hope you know that. And I said, God bless you, Doug. You're amazing.
Yeah, no, it's great that we can have people watch and be a part of it. And now that the choir's back, that all sounds good. And we never really were able to ever broadcast our choir before until now. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Mr. Kent's in the 21st century too. I told you this story several months ago when Shane didn't have a camera up in the choir loft, because this is the guy that goes kicking and screaming to record stuff. And one week Shane didn't have the camera up there, and he went to Shane. He goes, "Where's the camera?" So everybody's on board with it, and it's just the new normal, to do everything this way, and everything can be hybrid too, like even meetings. I mean, you get better attendance at meetings when it's on Zoom, although we miss being in person. But now, with the big TV that Bishop Jocelyn bought for us in the parish hall, we can sit there. We just have to turn the table, and we can have the people at home on their screen, and the people, so we can have hybrid meetings and things like that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I think it's just amazing because we're engaging in technology that's present and making it work for us.
That's right.
Right. And George has been on Food for Thought now almost every 3 to 4 weeks, or 4 to 5 weeks. And it's important because he connects with a lot of people, and he gives us gives these people more information about who we are in terms of our musical traditions. And I think he enjoys it. I enjoy it. I enjoy the conversations. We're laughing. We're also learning, and we're talking about things that are important for us.
When you're doing the interview and he's doing the lecture, it's kind of like the lectures he probably did when he was a professor at the URI, and then he asks you a question, you don't know the answer, you kind of just, it gets you a little nervous, but then he tells you the answer.
I know. You know what I don't get any nervous anymore because I know I don't know everything. And there are people who have so much more wisdom and intelligence, and I just revel in that. And I just say, okay, nope, I don't know it. Tell me what it is. And so
when you were at General Theological Seminary, that's where you went, right?
Yep.
How many years did you have to go there?
Oh, I had so at General. This is why I love General so much. I took an extra year to graduate. And the reason for that is because my father died in the first year that I was in seminary. And the seminary community was so very important for me. They actually supported me. The dean of the seminary came to my father's wake, spoke at the funeral, and all of that stuff. And it was, I was a part of the Indian community, and it was a big thing for my family. And the seminary community was so very supportive during that time. And then when I got married, the same thing, but so it took me an extra year. And so I graduated in 1995, but I walked in 1996. I did the actual seminary graduation. And that was the year that that same year, George got an honorary PhD from General.
Well, that's what I was getting towards. I'm thinking you had to go there for years, and he just walked in one day and got the diploma.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what? No, actually, they don't just give you the diploma. Yeah, they actually, because he had like 30 to 40 years of experience doing all that stuff that we gave the honorary doctorate to him. No, not anybody. Everybody gets that.
Well, hopefully someday you'll get a couple, then you could be like, you can get one from Columbia and one from a couple other universities, get one from Harvard. Why not? They give you the honorary. Be
Well,
fun.
yeah, it'd be fun, right? No,
When
no.
you're a bishop, when you're a bishop later on.
Well, I don't know that, but I do know that the ministry is so great, and we're adjusting ourselves. And so I think, like, even when George got his honorary degree, it's because of all that work that he did to make music and the church relevant for the world. And so I'm sure that there are people who are, today I'm actually going to have a conversation with the dean of General Theological Seminary. The acting dean. They're in a moment where they're transitioning. And I told him that I'd like to have him on our show, and so I think he wants to be on Food for Thought. We also have a close relationship with the dean at Berkeley School at Yale, and he also will probably be here on this show too. But it's always good to kind of connect with those educational institutions like the seminaries to think about how they're dealing with this type of situation, the COVID-19, and not only COVID-19. One of the things that you keep bringing up is that COVID-19, we had a letter in the Episcopal News Service that basically said that the COVID-19 situation actually accelerated the decline of denominational churches, right? And so, and you've been saying, and one of your important things that you keep reminding us, Caswell, is if we're not relevant, then we will also die. And so there are people who are listening to that type of message and saying, okay, how do we do ministry in the 21st century, in the 22nd century, and then, in the 30th century, so that it is not going to die, but rather continue,
Well, I always say we've made it 2,000 years. One generation's not going to kill us, but there are ebbs and flows in Christianity or any other religion. But what you don't want to do is become irrelevant, or become a concert venue or a restaurant.
That's right.
It's okay to be a concert venue and a restaurant to supplement your income, but you got to be careful with that. So it's tough, and it's also tough to be everything to everyone. And it's also tough to figure out what the message is, when people, it's really easy to jump on what the trend is of the day, or what the protest movement is of the day, or what it's hard because then you pigeonhole yourself and then you get political, and that accelerates the decline as well. So it's hard to stay at 50,000 feet, but still be relevant, but yet not take a side in things that are touchy when it comes to political stuff or whatever. So it isn't easy. I don't begrudge the job of bishop or presiding bishop at all. I mean, it's not one of those times. There were certain times where you could be a leader of something as things are on the upswing. That's always a great time to be a leader, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to be a leader when you're struggling.
Yeah. But what I think like I love what you just said about it being relevant, right? And I think what helps us to be relevant is always the gospel message. The gospel, the good news is that God loves us, and God wants to be with us in the midst of our struggle, and God through Jesus Christ teaches us how to be humane, compassionate, loving, encouraging, helping one another. And I see our church. I mean, this last Sunday we had over 123. I mean, because we're starting to open up again, and we're getting more and more full as each Sunday passes. And I think part of that is because focusing on the message of God through Jesus Christ and connecting people, and so that to not only God but to each other. And you could be on different sides of the political spectrum and still know that you have good people right in front of you who want to connect with you and who want to be a neighbor, And
we've done that here at this particular parish, where we've been able to keep the right and the left under one roof. That's the biggest challenge, today, is being able to, in a polarized country, to be able to all go to the same church. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And so, I mean, one of the things that we acknowledge is that that not everyone wants to go to the 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock service, right?
Yeah.
Some people want to have a 5 o'clock service on Saturday night. Some people want to have a morning prayer service, or some people now are going to, we've got almost 60 viewers on morning prayer services, right? And at one, if we had a 10 o'clock inside an in-person service, we'd have maximum maybe 12 or 10. Now we're having people who are watching for an extended period of time. And so, I mean, that's part of the message. It's connecting with people and helping them connect with God, with the Word of God, which is the liturgy, hearing a good sermon, hearing some music, and helping their souls to be massaged with hope.
Yeah, it's a way to get away from the phones and the hustle and bustle. It's good. It's good to take some time for yourself, and that's a good way to do it. Quiet. Sometimes quiet is good, and we're always rushing. And so for me, I always rush around every day with 5 different jobs and kids and all the stuff. But on Sunday mornings, you just make the time. I just make the time. Doesn't matter what else is going on. You just make the time because you need that recharge, to be around whatever like-minded people that are, doing something collectively for a good cause, or, for the right reasons, and to hear a message, and to, just to have some peace for a little bit of time in your life. I know that's not very spiritual, but it is inner peace is good sometimes.
No, it is. It's exactly what God calls us to do. The Sabbath is about taking a day of rest to find peace, to find also a time to reflect and to think about your life and not just run through it, right? I mean, I love it, Caswell. What you've done with the the acolyte ministry is just amazing, and I see it even with your kids. I've seen them grow up and blossom into young ladies that are going to continue to bless the world through their hope. Um, you know, and in the church we have this wonderful opportunity to connect to many different generations of people, and for them to connect with God.
That's true. Yeah, it's and now that we're, hopefully come September, we'll have a regular schedule and get back to having lots of acolytes and people helping us and serving on the altar. We were getting pretty big that we had to put extra chairs for acolytes before COVID. It was good. We had incense, we had all kinds of things, and I think they find, there's a little mystery in all that, and also I think for kids being a part of the service, whether singing or serving or whatever it is, I think it's very helpful for them to understand, why we're doing what we're doing. What are you doing with, why are you setting the altar up that way? What are you washing the priest's hands for? What's that about? Like, and getting used to the terms. I know our friend Natalie from the Altar Guild lets us know what everything is called, the real terms. So she's drilled that into a lot of our heads. So now I know what a reredos is. Never heard that word in my life, but I get it now.
Yeah, definitely.
That should be a trivia question. You should have Natalie on and have her name the parts of the church.
Yeah,
the only person that would get 100 on that test would be Lido.
No, well, Bishop Jocelyn.
And Cheryl.
Bishop Jocelyn. Oh,
well, he's a bishop. Of course he would get it. You would get it too. But I'm saying the average person like me, we don't know what a rood screen is or why it's there or things like that. And so when I tell the kids about the rood screen and how back in the Middle Ages, you didn't see what was going on at the altar. It was a mystery, and, when the altar was against the wall and the priest's back was to the people, and, and why that all changed and how it came about, and putting the service in the language of the people rather than in Latin, and, all that stuff. It's history, but it's good. So you can teach them that when you do things like sing in the choir or acolyte or become a lay reader or Eucharistic minister. You get to learn all the parts of it, and then hopefully that would inspire people that might want to become a deacon or become a priest, because you got to start somewhere, right? And so you might as well start carrying a cross down the aisle, and then you start to take that further. So who knows?
Well, you know what? I think part of this is this idea about what do you do with Sunday afternoons, and of course you could do, or Sunday mornings you could do the sports, right? And I feel like sometimes we compete against the sports and so forth, and of course I love being active and being healthy and strong. But then the question about for me, it came to a head the other week when I was thinking, sometimes, yeah, you could encourage the sports, but this encourages the soul and the maturation of an individual, helps them to see things differently. I see my kids coming back to church now. I mean, part of it is like they're in college and they're at home, and I pay the bills, and I say, you gotta go to church, right? But on the flip side, I also see an engagement in them. I look out to the congregation and I see them singing and reading and participating, and I know that stuff is good for their mind, and especially when they're dealing with the pressures of life. I mean, student life and college, where you have to perform, and life in general where you have to perform, and then you come back and you take a pause and you say, hey, look, you could perform, but but that's not why you're loved. You're loved because you're created in the image of God. And if you understand that, then you're able to get energy again to re-engage with the world.
Yeah, I find that if with kids, it's hard because it's a little bit of you got to force them a little bit to to go sometimes, but then after a while it becomes a thing that I think that, like Maddie, my daughter, so she's 11, and sometimes she goes to grandma's on Saturday night, and but then she has to miss church because they're in Niantic, and so a few weeks ago she's like, well, I don't want to go to grandma's tonight because I don't want to miss church tomorrow because we're doing whatever in Sunday school. And I'm like, wow, all right, there you go.
Yeah.
Far cry from you're going to report for duty. And so that's good, so then they or if she's missed a week or two, she'll be like, well, we haven't gone in a couple of weeks. Why aren't we going to church? Something like that. So it turns into that, I mean, I don't think I ever wanted to go to church, but then when I started singing and stuff, I never would think of missing a week. And that was just me. I mean, I guess I'd get in trouble if I did from who, but I found myself going to church more than my parents at that point, and then if I was an acolyte, I'd be like, all right, well, I got to serve at 8, sing at 10. And I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, that's just, I'm weird like that. I know, like Valerie Knowles, she enjoys it. And like, there's people that just enjoy, serving and doing those things. All those people in the choir, they don't think about it as a chore. They like to sing. So I think if church can be looked at as something that's doesn't have to be fun. Like, it's not like, oh, we got to convince people that it's such a great time. It's not so much that. It's just in the Episcopal Church, if you want to go to church, go to church. We don't have this fear and obligation and guilt. We're having a conversation about guilt with my wife and her family, and they were all guilted into going to church as kids, and so they don't go anymore. And I said, so I was curious about that, and I said to Maddie, I was like, do you feel like guilty if you don't go to church, or do you feel like guilted into going to church? And she's like, no. And I was thinking, that's great, because that's a concept that really hurts the growth of the church, is if you feel like you have to go because of some sort of obligation. And then you find that a lot of folks that do that, they run in, they do it as quickly as possible, and they like run out the back door. And I'm like, oh, and I said to them, I said at the dinner table, we were talking about that. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sad for you. I'm sad for you that church is scary, or an obligation, or guilt. I wish we could disassociate guilt with church, because it's too bad that it's like that. It shouldn't be that experience for people. Or I wouldn't go either, right? You wouldn't go if you had that experience. You can only guilt people into doing things for so long. and then it doesn't work. I think it's the wrong message. I think the message is, we're here, and we got this to offer, and we'd love to have your help and your participation.
Right.
So come on in, that kind of thing.
I love that. And I think, and there's a joy in this, being in this community. I mean, that's what I love. When during the pandemic, when we were told that we were going to have to shut down church on Sundays, I've never missed church on Sunday, because I always felt like there was something missing when I didn't go. And during that pandemic, that's what I felt like. I felt it was something missing in my life when I couldn't connect with the people that are here, But I wanted to focus in on one quick thing that you said about Valerie Knowles. Valerie, who is a young college student, I think she's maybe 20 years old now, or maybe 19 years old, one of the two. And she has just been, she's just been put on the vestry. And she has agreed with that. And I am just so happy about that. And here's this young woman who has been raised in the Episcopal Church and has been acolyting and has been a participant of this. And now she wants to be a leader in it. I was talking to my sons about it. I said, did you know about Valerie? And then he said, yeah. And then they said, well, they were excited for her. They said, if she does something as together to bring some younger adults together, they would participate,
That's good.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I love what we're doing. And I know that you do too. And I think I know that this is inspired by God. God is in this place.
Yeah, well, where you are, he's not necessarily in my office as much. But, no, I'm joking. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. Caswell, you're great. God bless you. And thanks for being on our show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, great. Talk to you later. Bye. Isn't he wonderful? He's our senior warden and a great man indeed. And we've got some great people at Christ Church, and I'm so grateful to God for that. But our time is nearing an end, and so let us end with the prayer that was adapted from one written by Bishop Thomas Brown of Maine. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Jesus Christ, you traveled through towns and villages, curing every disease and illness. At your command, the sick were made well. Come to our aid now in the midst of the global spread of the coronavirus. Heal those who are sick with the virus. May they regain their strength and health through quality medical care. Heal us from our fear, which prevents nations from working together and neighbors from helping one another. Be present with those in authority who are making hard decisions. Support the medical professionals, emergency responders, counselors, and caregivers. We ask this all in your name, Jesus. Amen. Join with me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Friends, go in peace to love and serve God. Spread the joy and the light of God to the world around you. The world needs it right now.
Thanks for watching. Did you know that you can join Christ Church from anywhere in the world? If you're feeling connected to what we're doing, email us today at communicate@christchurchwesterly.org.